This sign is voxelized, but it looks really blurry. They probably took the base image and just pixelized it in Photoshop. It would have looked much better modeled, similar to the closed sign we see later. Speaking of that sign, it should be glowing in this shot. Michael pulls up in his flying car. Whoa. This is an extremely abrupt jump cut between Michael's car pulling up to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and him walking in. You barely see his face, the car jerks a little like he's coming to a hard stop, and then all of a sudden, it's a shot of Michael stepping away from his car. Thanks to this lighting, there's a total of 3 completely dark areas that should not be. This car, this tree trunk, and this building entrance. They all look like black holes. Or should I say, block holes? No? Tough crowd. Because these cuts are in sync with the music, it leaves us with an extra beat. 2 whole seconds of Henry boondoggling in place while he gives a death glare to Michael. The camera bumps here, which was most likely unintentional. Huh? For real? Okay, I was gonna excuse it as an intentional camera bump with the music, but the animator just confirmed it with me. So... Henry, I don't know if you'd know this, but standing in the middle of the street is illegal. Assuming you care. Henry's head is clipping down into his torso. I'm gonna go ahead and sin clipping now, for everyone's sake. Also, these wrinkles, they're only on the sides of his mouth. Has he, like, only aged around his mouth? Because his eyes look quite youthful. Perhaps a more obvious crack on the photo frame's glass would have better shown its state, as I didn't see it was meant to be broken until my second time watching this.
You set the stage.
This stage light should be white in the center with a red glow emitting. A light this strong would appear white in the middle, slowly fading into the actual color in camera.
And play your part to host their final farewell.
Michael seems intent on doing literally anything but interact with actual customers the whole day. Ah, yes. Don't you know every good business stores their dead bodies in the back alley? It's the cheapest graveyard around. Also, this lighting is very bland. It's just ambient occlusion and nothing else. Again with this texture, man. It implies that there's just regular gray stone underneath the brick as it weathers away, which is definitely not how that works. Really, guys? We're really just adding barrier blocks above our characters now? We were just looking at Scrap Trap, but this shot cuts to Molten Freddy. This just makes the story harder to follow. The other 2 Funtime animatronics' arms are bending on jointed elbows, but Bellora's arm is completely curved. There's a weird shadow on Elizabeth's eyelid here. It looks like she's crying ink.
Just like the...
Michael uses his left hand to write here, but his right hand to write with a spray paint later in the video. As far as I know, Michael isn't ambidextrous.
Just like the first time.
What? Who turned out the lights? The set is so poorly lit, I can barely see anything.
There's souls tonight, it's going back.
This animation here is very boondoggly and lacks any defined poses.
Back, the final page of the lore.
Molten Freddy and Lefty run through this mysterious line. Scrap Trap is out of focus in the shot. Little too close to the lens there, bud.
Sound of cheer, the need for fear.
Check out Michael's amazing spray paint. You use it without pressing down the nozzle. The lines are crisp and it doesn't drip. Even if you're holding it an inch away from the surface, it will also automatically complete your work for you. One could call it miracle spray paint. When Afton sprays this can, the spray distorts the view of the room behind it. The spray being shown and the paint on the wall are just a little bit off from each other.
The souls of the king.
Quick question, how did Michael spray paint the wall that's twice his height? Maybe it really is miracle spray paint. Also, why did he even spray this on the wall in the first place? It's not like anybody else is going to see this. Perhaps Michael's taking inspiration from Doug Ratman.
Rewind the tape.
There's a strange black smear getting motion blurred as Michael throws a can of spray paint.
Back.
Wait, where's Henry coming from? Has he just been standing and stalking Afton from the street all day? He's probably created a traffic jam with his shenanigans. Also, where did the open-close sign go? You know what? 3 extra sins for making me mention this one sign so much.
Back.
For all the fire effects used in this video, there's none on this match. I hate to break it to you, Henry, but if there was really so much gas in those pipes that it would cause an explosion, the moment you lit that match and held it close to the opening, it would have ignited. Whoa! Now the whole room is on fire? Michael was just sitting here staring at a dark screen. These two explosions would have happened at the same time. Michael was just flat on the floor, but then he somehow scrambled under the desk and Molten Freddy doesn't know where he is. Not only that, but the chair seems to have magically righted itself. Molten Freddy should be standing right here. Oh, so that chair will fall over if someone leans back too far, but it's strong enough to knock down a 3-ton metal endoskeleton? Both the spray paint and Afton's hand get pretty badly warped here. The cap of the spray paint can flies off the top of the screen and is never to be seen again. Also, according to Isaac X, there was supposed to be a paint explosion, but there wasn't enough time to add the effect in. Come on, man. Gotta get better at your time management. Freddy freezes for a frame before the shot cuts. How is Molten Freddy's hat attached here? It should have totally fallen off in this state. There's a fire in the corner by the vent here, but then in the next shot, it vanished. Is this supposed to be the sky? Because it looks like they're underwater.
You bring them back, their southwest parts built to attack.
The difference between this non-voxelized fire and the voxelized scorching on the wall is pretty jarring. Lefty is surrounded by flames in this shot, but then they disappear. And then, the flames suddenly flare back up again.
You set them loose to chase them.
And now there's just an entirely new kind of fire behind Lefty.
The guests. Now for the last.
The fire transformed from that hectic turbulent fire to the very yellowish flame that only shoots straight up again. Extra sins for making me obsess about animated fire so much. The fire suddenly dies down during the last frame of this shot. While this is really sweet and heartwarming, I still have to sin it. Both Charlotte and Henry's souls don't emerge together. Meanwhile, Molten Freddy release their souls with each other.
Back.
How did Scraptrap get into this room? There's no doors on the wall around him. Did he just drop from the ceiling? Burst up from the floor? When Michael comes into the light coming from the vent grate, some very noticeable noise appears on his face.
It's going.
I know I collectively sinned clipping earlier, but Scraptrap just shoves his hand into the vent grate here. Michael goes from falling out of the vent to falling out of midair. Also, what happened to all the fire in this scene? It's missing. Double also, one of those boxes on the right of the screen is floating. The fire in this scene looks pretty different from the rest of the fire in this video. What gives? This whole sequence revolved around the very legitimate reality that those stage lights are incredibly heavy. Except for the fact that Michael was able to just swing one around like that with hardly any proper weight. Scraptrap catches on fire here because... Wait. Why did he just now catch fire? And why is he no longer on fire next time we see him? For a brief second, the motion blur blurs this bar into a much more viable weapon. William Afton makes contact with Michael Afton's face, but it takes Michael an extra second to react. Quick! Michael, use your pointy elbows to defend yourself!
Connection terminated.
This slow motion shot is very dramatic, except for the fact that all the fire is moving at a completely normal speed, if not even faster. While a clever use of this line,
Connection terminated.
Henry actually says this to Michael in his speech before the pizzeria goes up in flames. Having him say his speech now, after the animatronics have all given up their souls, he's already been reunited with his daughter, and Michael is already aware of the plan. Feels a little counterintuitive. Maybe I'm just biased after the dramatic ending and don't forget, but not seeing anything happen to William's spirit seems underwhelming. Especially after we just spent a solid 30 seconds watching him and Michael fight.
It's all an illusion of sights and smells.
The fire just disappears as soon as Henry and Charlotte show up.
Overall, this video was really fantastic. Everything that we've said before were lies. We actually tried to find an issue, but there are none we could spot.
Absolutely perfect.
Wait, we're not done yet. These soul effects look nice, yes, but for some reason their outline is camera-based, as in the outline of the characters cuts off from the bottom of the screen. And once you see it, it's hard to unsee. Alright, now that we're actually done, and he's gone, we can conclude this video. It was decent. The animation, lighting, and post-effects were alright. Nothing really stood out as being bad. They seem to have chosen to change the story up a bit, which led to some problems like the Henry speech, but also provided really creative sequences like the Afton fight. All in all, I'd say it was a good watch.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
We hit the jackpot tonight!
Busted! Connection terminated.